This video is not intended for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Mornings of Mischief. I'm your host, Loki, and with me today is Captain Trek. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Josh and Rebecca Momini. Good morning, Kronos. How is Maximilian doing? Good morning, Chris Persia, the number one. The wrench of wrenches is here. Good morning, Chris Persia. Saucy Wench. Good morning, Saucy Wench. How are you doing? Trey from Max World Entertainment is here. Greetings, Trey. And Trey says, greetings, programs. Mexican Iron Man is here with the broken iron thong. You know that his thong broke? Do you know that, Captain Trek?
No, I didn't. What happened to it?
Oh, it's in a million pieces, apparently. Lori Roberts, the Destructor, is here in the chat today. Good morning, Lori. Drinks. Bird of Prey 5, Kapla, Bird of Prey 5. How are you doing this morning, brother?
I hear he likes the monthly Crystal Skull for Bird better than the annual one.
Oh, really? Monthly Crystal Skull for Bird. He can do a double feature. We can find him the worst B movie ever made, and that'll get more views than Crystal Skull.
Well, actually, there's somebody called Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies out there. He has a lot of movies, and I'm sure he could suggest some B movies.
Oh, I bet you he could. Finner of Fire, good morning, Finner of Fire. How are you doing? Yes, the Iron Thong Kronos, the Iron Thong. Shadow Cat, hail Shadow Cat. How are you doing this morning? Darth Monkey Orath is here. Jedi Bill 797 is here. Jedi Bill, if Nina is there, you tell Nina good morning from Loki. Darth, did I already say Darth? Yes, I did already say Darth Monkey. Oh, rap. Oh, Lord, we are going back and forth. Eris of Chaos, the Battle Angel, is here. Samantha Joe and Purple Lady are both here. My Valkyries are flying in to save the day this morning. Lady Mist, our lovely Guardian of the Void, is here. Good morning, my lady. How are you doing this morning, Lady Mist? So we have got episode 5, 6, and 7 to talk about today, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Episode 5, 6, and 7 of Farscape, the series. So last thing we talked about was Thrown for a Loss. The first episode on the docket is one of my favorite episodes. And yes, do not let me forget, not Ryan Johnson is in the chat. Spike and Madness is also in the chat. Good morning, guys. PK Tech Girl is the first episode on our list today. And what a episode. There was a constant running commercial on Sci-Fi back in the day for Farscape. And at the end of the little clip of the commercial, it had Aaron, and she had her big ass gun, and she was saying, "On the ground now." And that, of course, is from this episode. So start us off, man. When you started watching this episode, what did you think at the beginning?
Okay. To be quite honest, after seeing the first 4 episodes, I'm going, okay, I'll watch. I started watching it, and it's like, okay, this is already piquing my interest.
So Moya shows up in a quadrant of space and finds a wrecked peacekeeper carrier called the Zalbinian.
Yes.
And good morning, Rambling Canuck Castle. Good morning, guys. How are you guys doing? And the Zalbinian was like their Enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay? It was the most famous ship in the Peacekeeper Armada. It was believed to be undefeatable by any race in their corner of the galaxy.
And it was definitely defeated.
And it was definitely defeated. And you're going to find out later by who destroyed this Albinian. You will find out later down the road. I love how it always comes back around. Everything about this show comes full circle. It does. It's one of the great things about the show is that nothing gets left open. Like right now, you're like, well, do I really, we had a good episode. Does it matter who? Oh, yes, it does matter who took out this Albinian. Oh, yes, it does. And you're going to be absolutely excited when you find out just who. And, but anyway, we're not jumping in the future. We're keeping in the present or the past, however you look at it. I mean, for Cap, it's the present because he's never seen these before. I've seen these, so it's like a trip down memory lane for me. I'm like, yes.
I'm having a friend watch them with me. Well,
Really?
not actually with me, but yeah, they are watching along, going, because it's like, oh, I haven't seen this in years. I've forgotten how good it was. Da, 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 da. It's like,
yeah.
Oh my, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, dude. When you've got someone connected, like I mean, if me and you were watching them together, you'd know everything that's going to happen because I can't keep my mouth shut. I just can't.
Well,
I'm like,
that's
oh,
this
and this is going to be connected to this, and you're going to find out who this is, and yeah, I just can't keep my mouth shut. Which is why you're not watching it with me. Why we are not watching these episodes together, because you would already know everything that happens. Oh, shit. Trey from Max Ford Entertainment. Allergies are kicking my ass this morning. Head feels like a turkey on Thanksgiving Day. Sorry about that, Trey. Dude, I hope you're feeling better soon, brother. I hope you are feeling better soon. So they get aboard this ship, and they're looking around, and Rigel doesn't want to go on the ship. Rigel doesn't want anything to do with going on the ship.
And quite honestly, from looking at the ship, I can't blame him. But then you find out he has a damn good reason why he doesn't want to be on that ship.
He was on that ship for a long time. He was held prisoner on that ship and tortured by the ship's captain. So they go on the ship and everything's torn up, everything's falling apart, and they find someone on the ship. And it is who the episode is named after. PK Tech Girl is Peacekeeper Tech Girl. It's abbreviated, from Peacekeeper Tech Girl. And that's who it is. It's a tech girl from Crace's ship. Crace is still chasing after Crichton, sending ships out to find Crichton because Crace wants to kill him, obviously. And you find out that she was left there to salvage components of the ship so they would not fall into enemy hands, which is pretty smart.
Oh, yes.
So as they are talking to her, finding out what's going on, Erin finds out that members of her former unit were sent with her, with the PK Tech Girl, because they are now disgraced.
Yeah, and the only way they can get their rank back is her death.
Her death. Yeah, if they find her and kill her and have the opportunity to do that, then they will be restored their rank and their flight status. If not, then they're just screwed. So during all this, Moya starts to get a signal of possibly another ship in the area. And they find out that it is a race of scavengers. And oh my God, my mind's blanking on the name of these scavengers. I keep wanting to call them the Zamitsi, but they're not the Zamitsi.
I'm sure somebody in chat will know the name.
I'm sure somebody will know the name, and I'm gonna have to write this crap down because Xiang, the Xiang, they're the Xiang, and they look like big ass walking fishes. But they show up and they are going to attack. They're powering up their weapon systems, and they are going to attack they're going to attack Moya and continue to strip the Zalbinian. When Zan realizes Dargo is pissed. He's like, I'll spit on your grave. Da, da, da. And he starts talking, in his language. And Zan tells Pilot to open the hailing frequencies. And the Xiang see Dargo in a rage, spitting at the screen, screaming, and they're like, Luxon! We're fighting the Luxon! Power down all the weapons! And it scares the shit out of him. That a Luxon is on board Moya, and they're going to have to fight a Luxon because they know they're going to get their asses kicked.
Well, they'd begun the countdown. They were getting pretty darn close when they finally opened the frequency. So it's like...
Yep. V-Star 333, hail and good morning. Hail and good morning, V-Star. So yeah, they're now flipping out because there's a Luxon on board. They stopped the countdown. They were going to open fire on Moya, and Moya hates fire. I think this is the first episode you hear that Moya hates fire. Moya is deathly afraid of fire. Fire not good for a Leviathan. And
considering she's alive, no, it would be deadly.
Deadly. Very, very bad. So the countdown stops. They hold their position. And Crichton, Aaron, and the tech girl are going to try and salvage a piece of technology off the Zalbinian, a shield generator. And they end up successfully turning it on. But eventually the Xiang get wise to what Dargo did, and one of the officers on their ship has like a mutiny and attacks. He begins the countdown again, fires this fire weapon. Crichton and the team are able to get the shield on the Zalbinian up and protect Moya as well as the Zalbinian enough for one hit. So they get hit, and the shield now has holes in it. And they want to get this shield generator over to Moya. They want to salvage this shield generator and get it over to Moya.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Since she is alive, how are they going to integrate these, or do they eventually integrate this into the system?
They have to integrate this into Moya's systems and route control through Pilot. Pilot will be the one that controls it. Pilot controls all the systems on the ship. Moya, yes, is alive, but Pilot is the navigator. Moya doesn't know. Moya would just wander aimlessly if it wasn't for Pilot. She wouldn't be able to control her systems. She wouldn't be able to regulate the cabins for the crew. Everything would go fucking haywire in Moya if it wasn't for Pilot. They have to live that symbiotic relationship. When a Leviathan is born, it is born without a pilot. But by the time it becomes what you would call a teenager, a young teen,
Right.
it grows that chamber. So that chamber is being grown as it's becoming a very young adult and will be ready for a pilot to be placed there. And the pilots, they have their own worlds, and I don't think you can't say their name. The name of their race is so long and so complicated, no human being or human-like being could ever actually say their name. But you'll find out more about that later. You'll actually see that. It's one of the really cool things. So anyway, the guy that
this is why we don't watch together, by the way.
Yeah, this is why we don't watch together, because I'll just keep talking and I won't stop. Oh shit. So eventually you find out that the guy who led the mutiny on the Xiang ship failed, and the captain is now basically bitch slapping him and telling him, you know what, you get to lead the assault. And the shield generator has holes in it now. So they launch all these little pods towards the ship, and all of them gets destroyed except for the mutineer that tried to take over the Xiang ship. And he gets onto the Zalbinian. And this is where, of course, you see that famous scene where Aaron's got this like Gatling gun pulse rifle, and she's telling it to get on the ground. And they can shoot this fire stuff out of their mouth. It's almost like they're fire-breathing fish. I don't know. Like they stole that straight from Castlevania. They did. I've never seen anything like that except in Castlevania.
No.
So, and it's going through the Zalbinian, trying to kill everybody on the Zalbinian. And eventually they take him down. They get him. Aaron blasts him, and they're able to move the shield generator over to Moya. But as all of this has been happening, Crichton has begun to have feelings for the tech girl, and she has begun to have feelings for him. She realizes that he is not the dumb Uman or whatever that the rest of the crew thinks he is. He is a very, very intelligent, we can science this shit guy. And she develops feelings for him, and they kiss. And in the middle of this, Aaron walks in and drops this giant container and is like, oh, go ahead. Don't mind me. And this is the first time you kind of realize that, oh, wait a minute. The beautiful, badass Aaron Soong has a thing for Crichton, doesn't he?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, because she gets jealous. Ooh, she's jealous. She ain't happy. And she plays it off like, whatever, who cares? Who gives a shit? But Crichton can tell, and he's obviously upset about it. He's kind of like, wow, maybe Aaron has feelings for me. So they get the shield generator over there. They leave PK Tech Girl on the ship because Crazy's going to come back and get her. And they can tell her, she can tell them whatever she wants to. That she never has to say that Crichton was there, ever. Well,
I like the fact that she gets a chance to not tell the truth.
That's
because the one peacekeeper that's with them decided to tell the truth, and it got her expelled.
That's right. It got her thrown out and banished. Which Christ made a giant mistake. That was the biggest mistake Christ ever made. It wasn't going after Crichton. It was getting rid of Aaron. It was banishing Aaron. That is the greatest mistake Christ ever made, was banishing Aaron Soong from the ship. So, the next episode in our walkthrough of Farscape is Thank God It's Friday Again. And I will be honest, the first time I saw this episode, I absolutely hated it. I was like, we had this badass fucking episode, PK Tech Girl, And then you've got this like rave, you know, half the episode. It's like a giant rave. And I thought it was stupid. I was like, what's this fucking worm shit? What's this? What's the root? But going back and watching it and just kicking back and trying to relax and enjoy it, it's a fun episode. It really is.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It's definitely a fun episode. You don't know exactly where it's going at first, but yeah, then it gets to the point where, you know, first of all, I'm sorry, I'm so bad with names. What's that? What, the warrior guy?
Dargo.
Dargo goes down to the planet. You know, he is in rage, and then all of a sudden, well, he's not.
Yep. And good morning, Bionic Belly Button.
Bionic Belly Button's here. Cool.
Bionic Belly Button is here. And she says, I loved all 3 episodes. All 3 episodes that we were talking about today. She loved all 3. So, Dargo, somehow Crichton has pissed off Dargo. And this is the first episode you find out about the hyper rage. You see it a little bit in PK Tech Girl. But this is the first time you hear them actually talk about the hyper rage and find out that this shit can go on for days and he won't remember any of it. He will not remember any of it. By the time he comes out of this hyper rage he's in, it's going to be one giant blank. And he's after Crichton. You know, the episode opens, Crichton! And Crichton's hiding up in like a vent because Dargo wants to kill him.
Yeah,
Dargo absolutely wants to kill him. And Kathia Star, hello Kathia. It's okay. Tomorrow is a rest day. Yeah, and I didn't get that. I really didn't get that the first time I watched it. I didn't get it until like the end, and they explained it. And then you go back and you watch an episode like this, which is not a popular episode. And you're like, okay, I get it. I get it now. It's cool. So Dargo takes Aaron's prowler and goes down to this planet. And they have to basically go get him. You know, whatever. If he's still pissed off, if he's still in hyper rage, they've got to go get him and bring him back to the ship. So they go down to the planet, and it's like one big ass party. Like the whole planet's having a rave. And you've got people in this bar, and they're going nuts. And Crichton sees Dargo, and he's like, "Oh shit!" But Dargo's all happy. It's like the happiest you've ever seen him. I don't know about you, but to me, it was like the happiest I'd ever. You're like, what the hell? Dargo's like, oh, my friend Crichton. How are you, my brother? And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, hey, what's in that pipe, dude? Let's just kind of chill, you know.
Yeah.
Compared to what he normally is. Like, bad ass warrior, buddy, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, brother? And yeah, I almost said something I shouldn't have. I see this is why. No. So, oh, we got coffee and donuts out. Yes, we do. Coffee and donuts.
The more coffee, the better.
So you find out that Dargo has been down there working. And as they're kind of talking about this, Rigel is eating everything in sight. And that's going to be a big thing here in just a minute. Rigel's eating everything in sight. Aaron's on the ship with, Aaron's down on the planet. Aaron's down on the planet. And Dargo's talking about how tomorrow is a rest day, and that tomorrow he'll be able to tell them all about what he's been doing and how they've been working on this planet and how happy he is. And Rigel kind of wanders off and goes to take a leak and starts blowing shit up. He thinks he's being assassinated, that someone's shooting at him. But it's really coming out of him. And Aaron has to take Rigel back to the ship, and they do a diagnostic thing on him. And Zan and Crichton stay with Dargo. And Dargo's apparently housed up with one of the locals. You know, he's like, oh, yeah, you know, it's going to be a good night. So.
Well, the way he looked going to bed, I couldn't blame him.
No, the way he looked going, no, he was absolutely right. The way he looked to bed, couldn't blame him. No, he looked absolutely happy. So he goes to, they take Rigel up to the ship, or Aaron does, and leaves the planet, takes Rigel up to the ship, and finds out that something is in his system causing everything that's coming out of him to blow up. And Crichton's telling her, well, you gotta figure it out. You gotta science the shit out of this. And she's like, I'm not a damn scientist. I've never been a damn scientist. Work with Pilot. He will help you. And Crichton and Zan go off to help Dargo, because now tomorrow is a rest day. And you're like, what? I thought you just said last night that tomorrow was a rest day. And he's like, well, this is the end of the work week. No, that'll be tomorrow. And you're like, what? And as they go off to work, Crichton gets pulled aside, and these crazy ass locals stick this big ass worm, looks like something off of Stargate, looks like one of the Goa'uld off Farscape, into his stomach. They put this damn thing in his stomach, and they're telling him, you have to eat. You have to eat the food. Otherwise, it will kill you. So eat the food. Meanwhile, Aaron's on the ship and working with Pilot and trying to figure out what the hell's in his system. And she's contacting Crichton. I'm not a scientist. And he's like, well, you're just going to have to figure it out. You've got to work with Pilot. You got to figure it out. Something he ate. Isolate him. No eating, no drinking, no nothing. Isolate his ass and figure out what the hell's in his system. No more food, no more drink, no more nothing. So they continue working on the planet, and you figure out that, oh, well, at this party, tomorrow's a rest day. Okay, tomorrow's a rest day. Tomorrow comes, and it is the last day of the work week again. How did you feel about that when you were watching that?
Well, at first I was confused, because it's like, wait a minute, it's supposed to be a rest day, I thought, but now it's a work day? Okay. And so they're going out. See, I was suspicious when something was going on, because first of all, what's his name making the explosives with ever bodily function, and then that worm being forced in him and being told to eat. It's like something's up with the food, but you don't find that out until later.
Yeah, you don't find that out until later. It is something with the food. Something in the food is messing with the locals. And they all believe that tomorrow is a rest day, and tomorrow is never going to come. You also find out that the stuff they are planting, one of the locals that put the worm in Crichton's stomach tells him that the stuff they're planting is killing the planet. That it's not even for them. That they're shipping it off-world, and it's not even for them. V-Star makes a very interesting point. Loki, they actually did use tapeworms way back in the day and leeches to remove poison from people. Only ones trained could apply them correctly, or you could die. That is very true. That is very true. When you hear about people using leeches in medicine back in the day, that is absolutely true. Didn't always work, and if you did it wrong, you could kill the person. But yes. So
I'd still rather live in modern day.
yeah. So as we move on in the episode, you find out that it's the food that is making Rigel pee and crap explosives. And the only way to get it out of him is to freeze the little bastard. And it's a funny episode. There's some funny parts of this episode, especially with Rigel, where you laugh your ass off. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And as it goes on, Crichton starts to see Zan. Zan is now converted. Zan is now one of them. And you see this really freaky, white-skinned, white-haired albino that is pretty much the leader and telling them all what to do. And she keeps asking about Moya. Can Moya transport this? Can Moya do this? Do you think that you could get the others to help us get all this stuff on Moya? And you start to get the idea this bitch wants off the planet. She wants out. And she shows Crichton this giant warehouse. And it turns out that the plant that they are planting and farming is all going to the peacekeepers. It's all going to the peacekeepers.
And it just so happens that the chemical process that goes on in the stomach is what's processing that food into explosives.
That's right. Shadowcat says, as it turned out, the others were actually the peacekeepers who used tannin to make chalk oil, a vital element empowering their pulse rifles. That's why it's killing the planet. It's poisoning the planet. It's killing the people on the planet, and the people on the planet never get a rest day. So what the peacekeepers are doing is the peacekeepers are coming to a planet saying, listen, plant this plant for us, and we'll give you all of this, and we'll enrich your society, and yada, yada, yada. But once these people start making this plant and start eating the root, they're screwed. They become mindless automatons that think every day is the last day of the work week. Imagine going to work forever thinking it's Friday. If I can just get through this one day, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to get through this one day, and then we're done. But it never happens. That is pretty much the entire aspect of this episode, is the peacekeepers do really screwed up shit. The peacekeepers do really screwed up shit and really evil shit. So Crichton eventually confronts the albino leader, and they have Rigel at their side ready to piss and shit explosives at everybody. Which is absolutely funny as hell.
Oh, I love the scene where he's taking a whiz off the balcony up there.
Yes. And you find out that albino leader lady wants to steal a whole shipment of the tannin root and use Moya to transport it. And obviously that's not going to happen. No. They convince them to fight. You've got the tannin, make pulse rifles. In fact, I believe Erin even tells them she can teach them how to do it.
Yes.
And they can fight. Obviously, they have no chance in hell of winning. But they can fight and die and take their planet back before they do. I'd rather go down fighting than living on my knees to the peacekeepers, or anybody else for that matter. And that's pretty much the whole point of this episode. is die on your feet. Don't live on your knees.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go down fighting rather than surrender.
Yeah, Bionic Belly Button says they told them they can make the chakran oil. Yeah, to power the pulse rifles. So, the last episode on this 3-part series today is IET. And honestly, it is not one of my favorite episodes. I do not like this episode.
Really? I'm surprised.
Really, this episode was out of order. It's one of the things that you kind of pick up on. It was filmed before, I think it was before Back to the Future, which was episode 3.
Right.
But it got pushed all the way to episode 7. And I think the reason for that was they had to do Moya landing on a planet. How do you do Moya landing on a planet? Well, you have to actually do the special effects shots. And I think that that wound them up.
See, I liked that. I don't know. I liked the episode. I can't say it was my favorite, but just the fact that, it kind of reminded Crichton of Earth.
Yeah, it reminded Crichton of Earth. I'm gonna be quiet now.
Okay, that's a scary thought.
Mexican Iron Man says this morning word count review spoken by the panel and number of words. Loki 75,456. Captain Trek 13. And Loki
I've said
says,
more than that.
And Loki says I never shut up. Well, you don't,
That's-
Mexican Iron Man.
That's only slightly inaccurate.
Oh shit.
No kidding. I was the first time I was supposed to be on about this. Let's see here. Loki. About 25% of the words. Mexican Iron Man. 74%. Me 1.
Oh shit, he's got you there, Mexican Iron Man. So tell me what you liked about this episode.
Well, first of all, I like that it was number one, it wasn't in space, but it didn't. They had to go through, they had to, find out what was going on, and then they had to land. And in order to stop this broadcast from happening. But what I'm trying to understand is they don't really explain how this whatever got aboard the ship to begin with.
Oh, it was the Peacekeepers. When the Peacekeepers put the collar, there was a collar on Moya that allowed the Peacekeepers to override pilot and control the ship. When they put that on Moya, they also put this device that if the collar ever was removed, this alarm would go off eventually. Yeah, Bionic Belly Button says the control collar. The control collar that was on Moya in the first episode. You see Dargo ripping shit out of a console in the very first episode.
Yes.
And eventually that control collar comes off and floats out into space. That control collar, when they installed that, there was also a GPS system that they installed onto Moya that was connected to her nervous system. And that's why you can't just cut it off. That's why they need this goop. And they land on the ship so that they can submerge Moya in water to keep that signal from going out more into space. They want to cover
succeeded.
it. Yeah. It's like trying to play a radio really loud over a car alarm. What are you going to hear? The radio or the car alarm?
Of course, the car alarm. So yeah. But unfortunately, in doing so, they discover they have to get this thing out of the ship because it'll kill her anyhow.
Yeah, it's going to
But
kill her anyhow.
taking it out will kill her, or could kill her. So Crichton goes to find this anesthetic.
An anesthetic.
And of course finds, of course he ends up with, in a barn eventually, and then found by this kid, and of course the mother. I like when Crichton was shot, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Yes.
All of a sudden, he couldn't move. He could talk, but he couldn't move anything at first. I like that part.
And he is captured by an alien woman and her son.
And she's pretty badass, by the way.
I did like her. And I liked the fact that Crichton is the extraterrestrial.
Yes.
They flipped that. Oh, shit. The rooster is in the house. Holy shit. The rooster is in the house. The rooster is in the hen house. Good morning, brother. Yeah, we haven't got to Gigi Edgley yet. He hasn't met Gianna yet.
When does that happen?
Soon.
Oh, Lord.
Soon.
So, yeah. Anyhow, then of course she offers to feed him. And he has this scanner which is detecting this anesthetic, and then all of a sudden it's in the food. And of course she's freaking out because she thinks that this detector is a weapon. But and he's kind of going, what? This anesthetic's in the food? And then he goes around and searches in the rest of the room, and all of a sudden it's this spice jar. That's just, off the scale compared to the food.
She's trying to knock him out.
See, I wasn't sure if that was her trying to knock him out or what it was exactly.
That was her trying to knock him out so she could have him. He's an alien. He's the alien.
Yes. And then, so finally, after going through all this stuff, she lets him go, which kind of is surprising.
She lets him go. And he is able to get the anesthetic back to Moya. Now, one of the things that we haven't talked about yet, they talk about 6 forbidden cargoes. Pilot lets the crew in on a little knowledge that there are 6 forbidden cargoes that a Leviathan is never allowed to carry. And this is one of them because they numb her. So how can you fly around in space? Imagine trying to fly around in space when you can't feel anything. You have no idea where you're at, what's going on. It's like trying to play a football game while you're medicated. Oh, wait, they do that. Never mind. Little shot across the bow there. So they're able to get this stuff, and the alien lady lets him go, but she kisses Crichton, and she's hot to trot about that.
Of course, she got to kiss an alien.
Yep, she got to kiss an alien. So they have a little moment, and they realize they're more similar than either of them realize.
Yeah.
And that's one of the key things about this episode that's really good.
Well, I think that, they do come across with that in the episode, how focusing on the similarities rather than the differences will help bring peace rather than focusing on all the differences.
Yep.
Which, of course, the authorities are looking for them because they're these aliens. They're different. But by finding the similarities, you're going to be able to bring about some peace rather than conflict constantly.
And Mexican Armin says, okay, got to get up. I'm ready for work. Have a good day, one and all. You have a great one, brother.
Oh, yes. Have a great one.
Don't forget the iron thong.
Has he got it fixed yet?
I have no idea. I heard it was in pieces.
I'm sure he's got a backup.
So overall, compared to last week, how do you feel this week?
Oh, much better. I was honestly, last week I was dreading coming on because it's like, oh God, this show really isn't that good. This week, totally different story. Totally different story, because I honestly thought this was really a good series. Just these 3 episodes make me want to watch more.
Well, they are going to have their downs. There are going to be some downer episodes in this first season left. Jeremiah Crichton, I never liked Jeremiah Crichton. I thought it was one of the worst episodes of the first season. People can disagree with me if they want to. That's just how I felt about it. But
I probably will, Well, I've been reviewing Enterprise with Canuck, and quite honestly, I'd forgotten how bad that the show was to begin with.
They were finding their feet. A lot of this first season is them finding their feet. I love that there's an episode coming up called Rhapsody in Blue. And I absolutely love that episode, Till the Blood Runs Clear. Next week, guys, we are going to be covering that old black magic, DNA mad scientists, and they've got a secret. So these are being showed as they aired, because that's the way I go back and watch stuff. I watch them as they air. So if you're like, well, wait a minute, PK Tech Girl was episode 7. I think I saw Bionic say that earlier. It may be in the set, but that's not how they aired. And that's the way I'll always watch it, is how it aired.
Right.
And that's just me. That's just me. It might be the wrong episode on a disc set, but that's because they went back and they were like, well, this was filmed before this, and this is the way it, we intended the viewers to watch it, and that's not the way Sci-Fi aired it for whatever reason. But I like to go back and watch them as they aired. But like I said, that's just me. So, sure, Shadow Cat. That would be great. That would be absolutely great. If you want to send me a copy of the PDF, that would be wonderful. You can send that to stone_Loki at hotmail.com, or you can send it to my Twitter account at StoneLoki1. Dave Bob, like Firefly, yeah. They completely screwed up the placement of episodes in Firefly. Yes, I can, Bionic. They are that old black magic, DNA mad scientist, and they've got a secret. And Chrono says, I didn't see the show Firefly, but I did like Serenity. That movie's epic. That movie is epic. And Mir says, cheers, Loki and Captain Trek. And cheers to you too, sir. Cheers to you too. So that is what we are going to cover next week. I want to thank everyone out there that has been watching these. I know this is an old series, and not everybody would jump off a cliff and take a plunge into something that is older. But you know what? I love this show. And I love getting to talk to Captain Trek about it because he's seen this all with fresh eyes. He's seen this all with fresh eyes for the first time. And
I've not seen it before, and I've been surprised, quite honestly.
I would love that if I got to go back and watch Farscape without knowing what's going to happen. I'd kill for that. I'm serious. I would kill for that, to be able to go back and watch Farscape without knowing what's in the future, what's going to happen, without wanting to jump ahead to different episodes. Yeah, because I haven't watched a lot of the first season in a while. I own this on Blu-ray. I've got it on a streaming service. We can watch it on Amazon Prime, but it's nice to be able to go back and watch some of these because I always skip over them. So a lot of the first season I didn't like. So it to me it gets really strong in season 2.
I keep hearing it. And I'm looking forward to it, but right now I'm enjoying season 1. And I want to, even getting through the ones that aren't as strong, I'm looking forward to it. Just for the fact to get through the season and enjoy it for what it is.
KVS Star says, let's get ready to rumble. Lady Miss says she is enjoying the shows. Thank you.
And no, Bionic, I have not hit 200 subs yet, but thank you for asking. This is one time I look at the chat and all of a sudden I see she's asking something. So, yeah.
All right, Saucy Wench. We are as well, guys. Thank you so very much for being here. Saucy Wench, Bionic Belly Button, Josh, and Rebecca, Momini, Purple Lady, Samantha Joe, my Valkyries. Thank you so much for being here today, Valkyries. I love you both. Dave Bob.
Yeah, I guess I can't forget Dave Bob.
No, Dave Bob, my brother from another mother. Trey, my brother from another mother. The Doctor and world-renowned author, Adega Outlaw. Thank you for being here today, brother. Thank you all. Lady Mist, Kathia Star, Psycho Dwarf 9, Chrono, Shadowcat, V-Star 333. Guys,
and I can't forget my co-host, Rambling Canuck.
Yes, Rambling was here. The Rambling Man. I've got to work on. I'm gonna do some little touch-ups on that outro before it makes its way to the dodo. And I think we're gonna change. I thought the first thought in my thought was the Mountie, dude. Rambling loves wrestling, so I use the Mountie. But I for whatever reason, it's spaced on me, dude. Bret Hart's Canadian, and
yeah, you gotta work wrestling in there because he's a wrestling nut.
Oh,
he's a nut, but yeah,
he's a nut. Yeah, he's an asshole.
Damn right,
asshole like Loki. Oh, guys,
you two are a lot alike.
Yes,
God help you.
Oh shit. All right, guys. Thank you so very much. And I'll catch you tonight. Me and Adega are talking Vikings. We are talking Viking mythology on 7 Kinds of Mischief tonight at 7 p.m. And I will see you guys then.